Hello, good evening, all of you. I didn't have enough time to record anything yesterday, so I'm finishing up the story of the Karna Pichashini today. So it's been 3 days since I handled that case. The guy came to consult me on Monday. On Tuesday, I went over to his house, and on Wednesday, I filmed the first 2 parts of my story. Yesterday, I was away, I had some urgent work to do, and then today I'm continuing and clearing up. So I stopped at the point where I reached the guy's house at 8:30. So, as I told you guys, it was raining when I went there. It's been raining since 5 plus on the day that this happened. So I reached his house. I located his unit without much difficulty. He stayed on a mid-level floor. He was alone in the house when I came. I knocked on the door, he opened, and I entered his house. First impressions, the moment I entered the house, there was an unnatural stillness in the air. Everything seemed to be suspended, in a state of animated suspension. Everything was quiet, the air was very still. So the first thing I did when I entered the house, my initial observations, the house was very well kept, neatly organized, floors were clean, spotless. It looked like a decent house. It's a 4-room flat, very nice, well furnished, nice furniture. So apart from the heavy stillness in the air, there wasn't much that was wrong with it. Now, the heavy stillness in the air, actually, there was a reason for it. My client, he doesn't really open the windows for ventilation. I think it's because of the aircon issue. They switch on the aircon, so you keep your windows closed to allow the air to become cold and then permeate around the house. First impressions, I didn't see anything out of the ordinary except for a natural stillness in the air. When I entered the house, everything was like too quiet. When you enter a room, sometimes if the windows are closed, just feel this sense of like you are able to hear heartbeat, things like that. Felt like that. First thing my gaze was drawn to was a room right ahead of me. As I entered the house, there is the hall here, and then the kitchen is off to the side. Then there's a long passageway. First room, second room, and then the room straight ahead. The room straight ahead was his late mother's room. It was locked, and so I said, okay, let's go to your room and we shall start. When we entered the room, suddenly it was a totally different scenario. I don't wish to offend my client, but I gave him some advice that day about how things should be. I had him clean up the room a bit. It was very unkept. There was hair all over the place, on the bed, on the table, on the floor, and it was coating the entire place. There were no bed sheets on the mattress. The mattress was stained. It was a stark contrast from the rest of the house, my client's room, and I was seriously taken aback, because this was the ideal environment for negative energies or entities to reside in. Now, a bit about my client. He's a very nice guy. I will dare say he's one of the best people I have met in the last few years. But he is a collector of amulets. I said spirit amulets, pry amulets, or barang amulets. This guy does not frighten easily. He's a seasoned barang collector or a seasoned spirit amulet collector. He has many amulets, and these amulets are not ordinary by any stretch of the imagination. They're quite hardcore, if you know what I mean. Those people who collect amulets, barang players, hardcore what I mean. This is what I mean. This guy is one of them. So it's not like he's going to be frightened just because he saw something. This guy sees something daily with his amulets. And his last actually review to me was to tell me, bro, I wanted to share with you, I struck the lottery 3 times in the last month. third prize all 3 times. This item he has worked very well for him, so I was very happy with it before all these things started in January. So going to his room was a stark contrast. I told him to open up the windows. He was taken aback. He was reluctant to do it. I don't know why he was reluctant to do it, but sometimes when you are doing things like this, certain requests will be very strange to you, like opening up the windows. I wanted to open up the windows to increase the ventilation in the house, to let the stillness out, and to let the entities who were now present in abundance the moment the room door was open have a way to exit before I perform my rituals. So the Karna Pichashini was standing in the corner of his room watching my actions very carefully. She was a very tall being, and this was a very black, tall shadow with a humanoid form, feminine humanoid form, shaped like a human. You can see that there's long hair. It's like a very long black shadow lady. So that's what it was. And when I told him to pick up the hair on the floor, he didn't say anything. He didn't complain. He knew I was doing my job. There must be a reason for me to ask him to do it. He did it. He might not have been too happy to do that, but I told him it's required to have some cleanliness inside here. Then there wasn't any holy water in the house. I always bring a bottle of water along with me. There's a mantra you can chant to make any water that you have become infused with divine energies. I use that mantra, sprinkle the water around the room. So he sat on his bed. There was no other space to do anything else. Entity was located inside the room. The incident happened in the room. The portal was inside the room. We had to sit on the bed. Put out a white cloth, I think about 50 centimeter by 50 centimeter in front of me. Then I got started in my rituals with him right in front of me. Like I'm sitting now making this video, the person is sitting directly opposite me, also on the bed. In the center between the both of us, there's a white cloth 50 by 50 centimeters, and I have the ingredients that I need, the ritual items that I need on the bed at the side to do the rituals. And directly behind him, where you would be, my viewers who are watching this, was the Karna Pichashini. She was flashing in and out during the rituals. We did the first portion of the rituals with the lights on. So I have some vibhuti or bhasma. This bhasma is not the normal bhasma that you get when you do archana or puja in the mandirs or in the temples. The pujari or the pusari will give you. It's not like that. This bhasma is those mixed with ashes of the departed. It doesn't come from an ordinary source. I got mine from Banaras, from the temple that we all go to, and we make a pilgrimage to India. It's called Krimkund, Kinnaram Baba Kinnaram Ka Mandir in Banaras, Ravindrapuri. So I applied some on myself, I sprinkled some on the bed to ensure that the masan or the masan energies would be in attunement with my own energies, because the energy was very heavy in the room. My client sat opposite me, and then I lighted incense cone. I use a Vapula incense cone. I'm not going to promote any particular brand, but I use Vapula Samarani. It's green in color. This is excellent for clearing the air or clearing energies. So I lighted a cone of this. Vapula is neem for people who are Hindi speaking. Neem. I don't know what the name for it is in English. Those who know, please advise. So I lighted the incense cone. My client is sat opposite me. I speak to him, and then I tell him what we are going to do. And then from there I start. On my left, I noticed on his table there was a picture of 2 entities that I believe was a godsend for me on that day. But I initially did not observe these pictures until after the ritual was over. So the Karna Pichashini's ritual starts. I cannot go into great detail about what I used during the ritual. There is a picture. I managed to take one picture, although my client was pretty taken aback that halfway through the chanting of the mantras, I whip out my phone and I take a picture of the offerings. I just felt that I should have at least some footage of this moment to record it for posterity. I did not record as a video. It was just an image. I only have one picture. I only took one picture. My client is looking at me like halfway, like weird, like, you know, what the hell are you doing? So anyway, I took one picture, and this is the thing about me. I try to document all my cases in the last few years because I want to share more about it whenever I'm able to, I'm allowed to. So I took a picture, so I can say that there were cloves used in the ritual. Rice was used, uncooked rice was used. Also, I used chilies, red chilies, right? And then there might have been some garlic involved. So for people who know about Tantra and Totka, you are getting the gist of what I was about to do. For those who don't know what it means, I'm basically trying to invite the entity to accept these things, put the essence there, and then after that has been done, then comes the negotiations, or what we call communication with the entity directly, to see what it would take for this entity to leave my client. So at that point, I asked my client to switch off the lights. There was an immediate change in the environment. My client, I believe, kept his eyes closed during the rituals, and I prompted him to not speak at all a single word until I indicate to him it's safe to speak. Certain items were sacrificed, which we call bali. Bali was given, or sacrifice was given, in order to appease this entity, and I use an instrument. Ritual instrument is in the form of a sharp blade that is used for ceremonial purposes. It's called a midmore, to indicate that these offerings are aligned with the act of an exorcism or expulsion. But I let the entity know very carefully. First, I of course invoke my Ishtadev Ma Kali, who is always, I believe, in my heart, present with me at all times, in good times and in bad times, in sickness and in health, you know, in joy and in sorrow. She has always been there in this life, the last life, and in any future births that I may have. I firmly believe Ma Kali will be there to guide me. So Jai Ma Kali. So anyway, today when I speak about it, you notice I have more energy because I've managed to resolve the relocation. So basically, the entity, the Karna Pichashini, what we are talking about was, we came to terms of negotiation. I requested, after invoking all the deities and after invoking all the Shaktis associated with this type of entity, that my client did this by mistake and he has no ill will. He did not intend to offend. You know the standard routine. My standard routine is to inform them that the person who has aggrieved them, or who has caused an affront to them, did not intend to do it willfully, did not intend to offend them, did not intend to hurt their feelings. So that being said, there came a point when I felt avesham coming, or I felt that there was a point in time that I might myself lose consciousness as another host entity took control of me. But thankfully that was avoided. So the gist of the matter was, the entity felt betrayed. She was in love with my client. She believed that he had invoked her to be his wife. She had traveled from whichever dimension she was in until she had reached his residence and had stationed herself in his room. Because he stopped the ritual halfway, she felt cheated. She felt as if she had been betrayed by him, and she wanted to bring him along to her dimension to consummate their union. And I told her that the work that I do is karmakam, meaning this is the work that I do to sustain myself, and I have no ill will towards her. But today I have been approached by this individual to negotiate the terms for his release from her clutches, and there were two options. One, she could go back to wherever she came from, or two, she could choose to relocate to another place. If that the first option was not possible, then they talk about banishment, like send her away or destroy her. Things are not as easy as most people think. Karna Pichashini is not your run-of-the-mill spirit, bhoot, pret, atma. You cannot do these things. Many great people have tried, and many great people have gone into deep suffering because of this. So I already knew this is not an easy task. So the options were, as I mentioned, relocate or, you know, go back to where she came from. The first option was out. She didn't want to go back to where she came from. Then I told her that the place that I'm in, this place, PPOS, she's welcome to relocate there, if it must be so, till such a time that she's ready to move on. She agreed, but with a condition. She said that she will make it so that my client comes to my shop one night for any reasons, and she will reveal herself to him. At that point in time, if you were shocked or anything else that would happen, that would not be on her. So I agreed to this, and after that immediately I told my client, look, this is what she has said. If you come to my shop at night, bro, there is a risk that this type of things may happen. I call him bro because he and I'm just older than him by a few years, my client. So I told him this is the thing, and then I said, we do this first. This has been done. Let's get the offerings tied up into a potli, into a bundle, and then have them immersed into running water, which was the next thing that we did. So during that process, I felt two very distinct, strong entities also present in the room at the same time. Apart from the Karna Pichashini had been appeased for the time being. She was stationed onto the sacrificial offerings that were in the white cloth that had been tied up by myself with certain knots utilized. In Tantric, we have Sat Bandhan. That was the way that we did it, or I did it. There is no we here. That's the way I tied the potli, and then after that, just before the lights were switched on, I felt the distinct presence of two powerful entities. One is out of the 52 Veers in Hinduism, Bhavan Veer. One of the entities' name was Nahar Singh Dev. Very powerful entity. For those people from Uttarakhand or from the mountainous Pahari regions of India, this name in people from Punjab or Haryana, you will know Nahar Singh Dev. He's a Veer, he's one of the 52 Veers. He was present there in that room. And then there was another older, more powerful deity. I cannot name him for certain reasons, but this deity is connected to the place from where my grandfather came in back in India, early 1900s. So this deity was also present there. I felt these two presence for a moment. The Veer, the Nahar Singh, he made an appearance. I remember voice changed. A very deep guttural laugh came out from me, just for a second, I believe. Then after he left, I told my client, yes, now we can go to the next stage of the healing, and you can remove the potli and we can bring it to a water source. So my client switched on the light, and then as I looked to my left, I saw a picture of Nahar Singh Dev there, and I saw a picture of the other deity over there, who was placed on his table, which I had not originally noticed. Immediately I knew that Kalima had a hand in this being done, because coincidentally, to face such a powerful entity, you will need strong preparation, you will need some people to assist you. I had no one, I was alone, which is the case nowadays for cases. If I'm going to take them, it so happens that I don't have time to call for help or call for assistance from any disciple. I ended up doing it myself, and on that day I had assistance from two very powerful entities. One is a deity, the other one is worshipped as a deity. Is a very powerful entity. Nahar Singh Dev, thank you so much. He was there. Apparently my client's late mother had worshipped him. My client, for some reason, had it right there on the table. A small picture about this size, yay size. About 5 or 6 centimeters big, 4 centimeters wide, small picture. At the side, that was the entity that was present there, observing all of this and helping to negotiate terms, which is why the Karna Pichashini readily agreed to relocate herself. So she came. So we brought the potli to a reservoir on the west side. drove my client there, got him to immerse it, picked my client back up, drove him back to his house right below his block. The client lives in a high-rise flat, and then after he had left, then I drove and made my way back with the ball. I use a ball. This is what I use for the first Pichashini case to tie the Sad Bandhan. This is what I use for the Karna Pichashini as well. So this is how we are able to get them to recite on top and then be brought over to us. The journey back was also not an easy one for me. It's been quite some time since I faced this type or this caliber of entities. The journey back was very tiring. I kept hearing whispers. I was hearing whispers the last 48 hours. Just random whispering in my ear as a side effect of what we do or what I do. And ice heavy, hard to drive. You have to apply X oil. I use X oil. You got to apply that. I don't have it with me. It's Xiang oil, red. Applied it here and applied it here. Smelled it. Then I drove slowly. Second lane going at about 70, and then eventually I had it. The ball brought back to my shop. I did a small ceremony, after some dhoop, informed Kalima, said my thanks. The entity has been here since the Wednesday. Since Wednesday, she's been here, and it's been the last few days have been eventful. Yesterday I wasn't here. Wednesday was eventful. Today also was quite interesting. I had a client just come in while I'm filming this video. It's now 8:12. She just left at about 7:36 p.m. So this client of mine was here for a different matter. By profession, she's a lawyer. So sitting and having a discussion in the hall where my table is located, where I usually meet people. And she saw a black shadow towards the back of my shop moving about. She was quite taken aback, but it's not the first time this client has come. She knows what's there or what to expect. She was taken aback though because it's the first time she saw the entity. She knows to expect this because she has been following the videos that I've been putting out, and more or less, this is a repeat client of mine. She knows what's up. So she saw, and I told her, I had a case. It was an entity, and I was about to make a video. One of you, I think, PM me to ask me when will part 3 come out. So I'm trying to do my best here. That I've done. This video is definitely way longer than 10 minutes. It's 23.19 minutes. So the Karna Pichashini right now is, I believe, here. And the Pichashini from the boy's experience is also, I believe, here. It's never easy handling such cases. For example, Nahar Singh Dev, Bawanbir. This is the first time I have seen this energy up close in Singapore. Throughout the length of my career, I have not experienced anything in Singapore with this entity. It's a very, very powerful entity. Very popular in India. Nowadays, a lot of people talk about him. There are even mediums who trance him. A lot of things can be seen. Just know he's got horns, got fangs. Powerful entity, very powerful entity. It's one of the 52 views. So this was my first experience, and I believe this also Ma Kali had a guiding hand. She knows only what best she will do. We are all performers in a play she has scripted. And with that being said, I will end this video now on this note. And that alarming trend that I was talking about, I will talk about in a subsequent video in general about spirituality, occult practices and whatnot. And I have also had a few people contact me about black magic issues after watching this video. I met a client today also in the afternoon, and I just had open shop for a similar reason. So I just want to put it out there that I cannot diagnose you or I cannot tell you what's wrong via a text message. It's not possible for me. You can describe your symptoms. I can, based on assumption, suspect that it may be related to haunting or to black magic or to something like that. I cannot tell you definitively, for sure, until you come down in person for an consultation. We have charges for consultation. The charges are there so that I don't receive requests from people who are just there to waste my time, right? And also it takes a lot of energy and a lot of effort to do this type of things and to check for you. But thankfully, the client earlier this afternoon, that client didn't have any black magic or any spirit. It was just that her aura was affected because she works in an environment where there are a lot of sick people around. So I respect the profession as well, but I cannot go into details. So yes, this is what it was about. Such entities are very visible in my shop. I don't know about other shops, whether the same thing is happening elsewhere, other places. I hope not. I sincerely hope not. It's not easy to live with such things happening. It takes a lot out of you. You need to be committed and dedicated to what you want to do, and above all else, you must have the support and the grace and the blessings of the divine with you. That's very important. So in finality, all I can say is Kali Ma help this young man by her divine grace. So Jai Ma Kali. Thank you for putting up with this 27 minute video. Thank you guys.